Innovation Unplugged from the Alabama Community College System's Innovation Center takes you inside Alabama's workforce development. Join us for enlightening conversations with community leaders and industry experts showcasing experiences, addressing key issues, and celebrating successes in the workforce initiatives across the state.
Okay, team, welcome back to Innovation Unplugged. It's a production of the ACCS Innovation Center. I'm Houston Blackwood, Workforce Director, and today I've got my trusty partner in crime, Brandi Merrill, our Director of Curriculum Design, and then our special guest this episode from Northwest Shoals Community College, Andrew Robbins.
Hi there.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This is probably the most fun thing we do.
I don't know. That's debatable. It's fun on the days that we do it, but we do a lot of fun stuff.
Well, so all the time it's like it's work, and project and outcomes and goals. Yes. And this is like the one thing where the goal is really just to have fun and but really to get to know people, because we don't get to just talk shop and hang out and drink a cold beverage and chat, with
that water being cold beverage.
Yeah. Just came out of the fridge. But anyway, but we've had some really good nuggets. We've had some really good ideas come from your counterparts on the show. So
okay,
we've been eager to have you on board, and because you've got an interesting background, from a workforce standpoint. So I'm excited to hear all that. So why don't you just go ahead and tell us, like, where you're from and how did you get to Northwest Shoals?
I guess it's been a colorful path. I started my career in music education. So I started, actually before that, during my time as an undergrad, I worked with the Salvation Army, nonprofit, stuff like that, teaching music and at camps and with the kids and stuff there. And then when I graduated, I went on and taught at a couple public schools, one in South Alabama, one in North Alabama, both ends. Had our first child, decided I wanted to try to be home to see him more often. So started looking at other routes I could do with my degree at that time, and found higher ed. So I began being an advisor at Northwest Shoals.
Yeah.
So I started in student success, did that for 5 or so years, and this opportunity came open in workforce, and I went for it. Didn't have much of a clue on what it was. I just knew it sounded interesting. It was about time to try something new.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, kind of whatever's in front of me is what I go for. Wait for opportunities and whatnot. I think I always frustrated my professors in college when they would have us write those papers on what our career plans were. Mine's always been the same. It's always been look for the opportunities, see what seemed interesting. This is what seemed interesting. Yeah. I've enjoyed it. And now I'm here. So taught music, went to advising, here in workforce.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of parallels between teaching students who may or may not really want to be in music class to trying to create projects for employees who may or may not want to be trained or coached or nurtured?
Most definitely, yeah. That's one thing I felt like I excelled at, which I don't get to do much of now since I'm not an instructor, but I do get to coach my instructors on how to handle those types of students and whatnot. But that is a parallel. When I think about the music appreciation courses I used to teach, because they plug people in there that they needed that credit. They didn't really belong there.
That was in K-12?
That was K-12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Music appreciation, choir, band, I did all of it. Guitar, all that kind of stuff.
All right. So what instrument do you play? Or instruments? Or vocal?
I bet he plays a lot.
Or what?
My primary that I went through on scholarship and all that kind of stuff was low brass stuff. Trombone, euphonium, tuba, that kind of thing. But when you're in that profession, you got to play anything.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much.
Yeah.
Praise bands, guitar, just, what you have to do.
Yeah. Very cool.
I don't know if it was cool, but
it is cool. It is cool to be able to play.
My wife, when she met me, thought it was cool. So that's what counted.
That's all that matters.
Because when you're undergrad in music and stuff, all the people you're around, that's just what they do and stuff. So I found my wife outside of that world, so she thought everything I did was cool, and I wasn't used to that. So
nice.
That
was the bait and hook. And then as long as there was no switch, you were in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there wasn't. Look. Yeah.
Man, that's envious because I can't play dead in a Western, and I've tried piano, I've tried guitar, I've never tried anything else, but it's just not in me.
Anybody can do it. Got to have the right person helping you.
Well, maybe that's a problem. My son has a really nice guitar because he also tried to learn that. And he took lessons and he could play Smoke on the Water a lot, repeatedly. And
4 notes. So you got it. Yeah.
But it's cool, man. And so that's a fun thing. But taking that and you were a band director.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
amongst other things, but yeah.
Yeah. And I think that just knowing the ones from when I was in high school, when I was a teacher, I mean, that's a lot. Like you look out there on Friday nights and at band competitions, you think, oh, that's people just walking around, turning in circles. But man, like they spent the whole, from May till August perfecting that. And so
in the heat and choreography and the whole 9 yards. It's impressive.
So the planning, and I'm going to the planning organization to make that happen. Man, that's incredible. So how do you take that background and make it into successful with what you do now?
I've always been a front end work type of guy. I believe in doing everything up front that you can in order to be successful later. So I guess that's how it transferred, and that's really what I've always done. In my, I feel like I'm on my third career because advising was so much different than workforce. That's what I tell people. I'm on my third career.
Absolutely.
But I feel like I've applied it all along the way because there was no way to be successful at what I did before in band directing without doing the front end work. Especially, when you teach at county school, especially in Alabama, you're a one-person show.
Yeah.
So you're taking care of all of it. And then when I got to this position, I was a one-person show, and now I have help, and I'm not used to that. It's fantastic.
Isn't it? I know. We know what it feels like to be a one-person show.
Yep.
Man.
In our respective areas, and as you grow, it is fun.
As you grow. Adam Willis, that's who you're talking about,
Shout out to him,
Yeah, he seems to be really good. I don't interact with him as much as I do you, and I don't even get to talk to you as much anymore since we added new staff, new help, but it seems like y'all have a really good thing going over there,
and working on expanding even further. But yeah, he takes care of most of the day to day, and we wouldn't be where we are at without him.
Yeah,
so
that's good. Well, I'm sure he'll listen. Him and his mom will listen.
I'll make him listen. Yeah, his mom. Yeah.
So his mom and my mom will be our listeners. No,
we have others. We have others.
I'm kidding. So all right, so let's talk about that. So you said he's the day to day. So that implies that
as much as possible.
You're the big picture. So you're the visionary.
Try.
Okay, tell us about that.
He does more of it than he thinks he does, but he says he's more of the day to day. Big picture. Come up with ideas, right? Curriculums. Everything. There's still a lot of the day-to-day I have to do too, but that was his main role, is to come on the stuff, because everything I create, or that the workforce director or whoever we're talking about creates, you may come up with 2 great ideas, but that creates 100 tasks a piece, right? Daily tasks, that have to be sorted out afterwards. So you have to be careful as that. You remember, I mean, y'all both remember, anything you come up with, you got to think about the succession plan and how far it's going to go down the line. Everything we do, we try to make sure it's repeatable. Whether it's a one-time training or whatever for a plant, we want to make sure it's something we can repeat easily on down the line. So
how do you, when I got to Calhoun, I came from K-12 too, but it was biology, and that's all I ever taught. But man, I got into all that industrial maintenance and all things industrial, and I had an idea, man, but I didn't know it enough to talk about it, and I was scared to death to be exposed as just a goofball. So how do you, when you go into those meetings, how do you listen and take all that in and process it to come out with a good quality training program for them?
That was one of the interesting things with coming into the workforce. That I feel like is, you guys both know this when I say it, but I think any person overseeing anything in the workforce has to come to the realization that they're never going to be the expert in the room. Never. And I mean, that was hard for me because, coming from music and even advising, you become the expert at, 1 or 2 things, and you're the person people ask for that. So that's usually one of the first things I talk about when I get in there with the GM of the plant or the HR or whoever it is that you're talking to, the engineers, is, guys, don't worry. Guys and gals, don't worry. I'm not the person that'll be doing the training, but I am very good at finding really qualified experts at doing this. And what I think of myself as, and all of us as, is experts in creating opportunities. Rather than being the experts in the content. I try to not even pretend to be the expert in content.
I feel like I say that a lot too. Like, how we work. We've got task forces, and these task forces, out of that usually come subject matter experts. And those are the people that know, and then oftentimes we're fielding questions, and it's like, whoa, let me remind you. I do have areas of expertise, but it's not your area of expertise.
I feel like I'm finally getting to the point where I can sound confident enough to where I don't scare people in the room.
I'm not saying we can't talk a good game. I'm just saying, like,
but I
truly,
still follow it up with, all right, I got a really great person who's going to handle this. I already know who I'm going to get, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing. Yesterday I went from talking about early in the morning to was heavy equipment and a boot camp design. and then I switched to paving, and then I switched to mental health worker, community health worker, and then back to paving, and then back to biotechnician, which I know nothing about any of those.
That's how he ended the day.
Something Adam and I joke about all the time is, one day we go to a meeting at a small meat plant where a guy gives us jerky before we leave. And then the next day we had a conversation that went about airplanes and working on airplanes,
Yeah.
just every day. So that's what I enjoy about it. It's the challenge, and I'm never knowing what's coming at me.
We
Yeah.
do too. That's the same thing, and then how cool it is to kind of get to process plan all of those pieces and parts out when you don't, you really just know a little about this and a little about that, but you got to create that path and create that plan. And
That's what I had missed from teaching music was all the interesting people I got to meet. And now,
Yeah.
for better or for worse,
yeah,
Yeah.
there's an interesting person every day I meet.
yeah,
Especially our
absolutely.
students. My goodness, from every walk of life, every career, trying to change careers, every age, and then all our partners too.
Sure.
Just anybody from everywhere.
Yeah. What's been your most interesting person that, and I know you won't name names,
No,
but like just most interesting situation, I would say.
gosh, there's a bunch of them. The one I would start with that comes to mind first is when we first started the trucking program, I guess 2.5 years ago, we had this couple come in. They were married at the time, and they were going to go through, and we've had quite a few.
Interesting caveat.
Has that changed?
We've had quite a few couples come through, and they want to be team drivers and whatnot,
Yeah.
and they came through together in the class. And they got through the class. They both got their driver's license. It was a colorful time, and they both tell you they argued in the truck, that kind of stuff, But they both got through it, and they were the kind that always, make up and do fine afterwards. But then, they both immediately got jobs. They were team driving. That lasted for less than half a year. They're ones that feel like they called to keep us informed on what's going on with their lives. And I like hearing it,
It's a connection.
But she called, sent out, need another verification for the next job. You know how
Yeah.
the
Sure.
CDL verifications, and decided to fill me in on everything. Said, we're separated now, but we're still friends. That we were just better off friends. That kind of stuff. Because one of my, several of our truck drivers, their instructors have driven teams, and they all joke and say there's no quicker way to break a marriage. Which they had other things going on apparently.
Sure.
Too, but that's when it comes to mind because they were just such a colorful couple to deal with, and go into teams. But they both had almost no income going in,
Yeah.
and then came out doing very, very, very,
very
well,
well.
whether they're together or not.
Yeah.
But it was just hilarious that they
It works out well.
So,
Fun to see.
We had
Changing
one,
lives.
we had one like that at Calhoun, and one of them was very emotional and interesting, and the other one was not. And then the emotional one thought that they were going to be team drivers, and the other one did not. And I couldn't. I caught on quickly, and they both, one got a Class B, one got a Class A, so it
worked
diverged
itself
quickly.
out.
But it was so fun just to watch that dynamic, and it's good times. So you guys have run a lot of CDL. I was working on invoices yesterday, and when I look at that board, like I can sort by the type of course it was. And a lot of the CDL invoices are easier to process because there's no sign-in sheet and all that stuff. And so I was trying to just knock a bunch out, but I had like 6 or 7 in a row that were yours, So you guys have done a lot, and Northwest had a program and it stalled, and then you came and you brought it back to life. Tell us about that process.
well, there's a lot of learning, just like when you got into it. We had 2 trucks to begin with. One trailer that'll barely go on the road, and one trailer that was wrapped and ready to go. And that's just what we started off with. And it happened about the same time as the Innovation Center stuff was coming online, so we were able to offer it for free. So people started knocking down the door to come in.
Yeah.
So it was really just an issue of logistics. That's what it was. So we figured that out. We've been building on it ever since. So now we've got a grant approved to open up another lot, a larger
fantastic.
lot.
Where?
Wow.
Right in front of our school, which was a surprise to me.
Okay.
Dr. Goodwin's been great about it. He wants them up front, wrap trucks,
Absolutely.
the whole advertising bit. So that's been really fortunate. But it'll be big enough to have 2 lots set up on it, 2 training lots. So we'll double our capacity. So right now we run 4 shifts a week, sometimes 5, depending on when we work our Class Bs in. So we got a morning, afternoon, evening shift, and then a weekend shift. 13 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Good.
And that'll double
Yeah.
when we finally get that lot
Yeah.
done.
Man, that's incredible. And
And that's how we try to run everything we do. Heavy equipment is another one that's real high demand. Everybody loves that. So we try to run it about the same way, almost in the form of shifts, but 2 days at a time.
Yeah.
So we try to do team teaching on that like we do with the CDL too. So
that works out really
so
well.
we run large groups.
Hansville has a couple of National Guard. I think they're still active in National Guard operator, and that's their instructors for heavy equipment. And it's a whole different. I mean, it's just an incredible experience. I'm sure your guys are fantastic too, but I've seen those guys. Did you know that we're increasing the Class A reimbursement?
I didn't. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I know.
Look at that smile.
That was another part of the logistics that went through my brain. I was about to say, should I mention that part or not? Because that was another thing that, I've maintained cars all my life myself, and that was just a mind-blowing experience. One of the first things that happened within the first 6 months of having our program, injectors went out in one of our trucks.
Yeah, I remember.
We went to the dealership because I didn't have anyone else on the vendor at the time. $10,000 repair.
Yeah,
lift the head and do everything. So. But there's always stuff like that, It's one of the reasons next trucks we get, we want them to be single axle, less tires to worry about.
Yeah.
All those kind of things you don't think about.
Class A is Class A. Yeah.
Yeah. How much? No, you don't want to say that.
Oh no, we've said it before, and I've mentioned it to several. It's going out next week to $2,250. Long story short.
That'll help.
And
Much.
I try to get it to $2,500, but just in all things skills for success, the buckets of the budget code and stuff. At the end of the day, if you're doing, like in your case, you're only doing skills for success CDL. Everything comes out to the wash, and you can move all that money around. So you win the college.
Oh, we make up
wins.
for it, other stuff. But the thing that gets us is the repairs. Like
Sure.
I'm able to handle. With us running at capacity right now, we're probably getting around 12 a month passed with their license.
Yeah.
It's averaging around 12. So it's really just the repairs that get us. We're able to handle all the instructor costs and everything like that, tires usually, and which it's always a joke too. About every week we're buying tires.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also, in addition to that, we're going to have a what's it called? A restriction removal course. So those folks that you put through in the 3-week period for automatic, once they get a job and then the company needs them to have a manual option, they can come back, and it won't be the same reimbursement because it won't take as long. Be similar, probably more like the original, but you still got Class B reimbursement. And then we've even talked about a refresher course.
Actually, we have a need for that right now that we're putting together outside of,
What would you think that refresher course the time it would take to do that?
The way I have it built right now, I feel like they were going. Most of our trainings that we develop, we've gotten into the groove of building everything off of 4 hours.
Yeah.
So with our NFPA 70E and those kind of courses, we try to do those in 16-hour increments so that we can. Whatever the curriculum is, I take it out and we figure out what can we cover in 8 hours, 16 hours, and we break it out into course 1, 2, 3, 4, so they can get an accomplishment and keep going. But with that one, I was looking at about 16 hours. Yeah. It's for the need. It was a municipality. Everybody's driving already. They just want to run some people through, a real quick refresher course.
Right.
2 full days was going to get it for them. Now, a refresher for, someone else other than a municipality that's driving every day, I don't know. It's just one right now we're working on.
Yeah, I don't know that like the over-the-road truckers would need that because they're always fresh. But those municipalities have a lot of seasoned employees who they may have been driving since 1962. And, they didn't need it. So you don't have to tell me this right now, but what kind of dollar figure would you put on that in relation to our other reimbursements?
As you know, we with most of our trainings we have them. I try to keep it sectioned out where 16 hours is this much, so 8 hours this much, that kind of stuff. I think that was going to work out to around close to $4,000 for 10 to 12 people.
To cost
something like that
to run it?
Well, not the cost. I'm not sure what the cost is going to be, but that's what we're going to have to charge for.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for 10 to 12 people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you had each person that was bringing in like, let's say $750, $1,000 for a refresher,
fantastic,
no brainer.
Yeah, no brainer at all. I mean, we run everything as close to cost as we can,
and
just try to do everything in volume so we can help as many people as possible.
Yeah. So. And CDL is that way. Like it should be. Obviously, skill success is not supposed to be a profit center, although it helps for sure. But CDL is one of those things that if I were still doing it, I would run that as a break even almost as a service to get everybody in the door for all the other things.
Well, where it's paid off for us is in relationships.
Yeah,
we have built. I mean, when I turn in these numbers, they go up every time I turn them in. I think last time I checked, we're dealing with around 110 companies just through
Yeah.
CDL,
That's
which that has branched off
fantastic.
into, they need all kinds of other stuff too.
Yeah.
So that's,
yeah.
most of our our relationships have come from there into other trainings we do. 11, I think it's 12 to 15 municipalities now. All the municipalities in our service region.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, you serve a lot.
that's where it's really paid off for us. And two, I enjoy that, we're able to offer this. We don't just do it for folks that have experience or folks that are already employed. These are people that have nothing, and this is an opportunity to make some real money. So we do probably spend a little bit longer with some people than what would be fiscally responsible. But these are people that's never even driven a 5-speed car. And we
Right.
put them in the truck, and we give them the time they need. And we make up for that with the folks who have driven and only need a week in the truck.
Okay.
So
I appreciate that honesty. And well, I mean, because here's the thing, like, as well as I do, like, some of those times and the schedules people put out, it is what it is. It's not always, in a square box. So, but I'm saying is you have that flexibility to spend more time and spend less time, and it all washes out in the end. And you realize that, and I've noticed that just from conversations before.
well, that's why we go with went with the flexible route of shifts. Because a lot of these people are trying to change careers into a better paying career.
Yeah.
And so that's why we do the 4-hour shifts, or 5-hour shifts per day, and then just, double the amount of time they're there. But we roll them in. I always have to say, pun non intended. We roll them in because there might be somebody about to check out or been driving all their lives and need to re-up or let it lapse or whatever that's in that same class with that person that's never sat in a straight shift car.
Yeah.
So you kind of get some students working together and showing each other things too, with the instructor there and team teaching with another instructor, so we can double our capacity. So it's a real neat dynamic. And I guess that's something that harkens back to my time as a band director. That's something I always enjoyed seeing was my 7th graders with my seniors.
Absolutely.
yes.
That dynamic of seeing one help the other, So
my first year teaching was the first year of No Child Left Behind. And, so you had for the first time the inclusion classes, I forget what they even called it then, but the special ed students became part of the regular classroom. And no one knew how that was going to work. I sure didn't, because it was my first semester. But I learned to love that.
Yeah.
And, there's some beautiful things that happen. And I appreciate you taking that approach. Not everybody does.
Oh, well.
And so it really, really helps out.
That's where our most interesting stories come from. It's like that couple I told you. They wouldn't have had that if I had a required certain number, hours of experience or anything like that, or you have to get this done within this amount of time. They wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Because they needed some extra time in the truck. I mean, they'd never driven anything like that before, and now they're making real money, and supporting their families.
Well, that changes the family tree.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it does.
Let's shift gears a little bit, pun intended. We need a soundboard.
Automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about so you do the registration, and you follow through the registration process, and then you're marching people through the theory course. What's been your experience with that, working through them with the theory and hearing their feedback on the actual coursework on the online piece? What's that been like for you?
Well, Adam, my guy who does as much of the day-to-day stuff as he can, is the one that gets the most of that feedback. But what I'll tell you, he tells me, is that they like the streamlined approach to it, being able to not have to read a ton, but be able to interact with it and go through the course and whatnot. Some of the stuff they would like to not repeat certain things. Like our most of our repeat customers take all 4
Heavy equipment. I knew.
I know you've heard that. I know you've heard that.
Heard it. Yep.
They see little Alabama march across there in the same way. But that's just it's just an antidote with them.
Yeah.
They're not really upset about it. But that's always the comment we get.
Tell the story.
Let me explain what this means. So we have a core part of the heavy equipment operator course, right? And we don't build anything if it's not asked of us to build. And so Alabama Road Builders Association asked us, I don't know, 3 years ago, one of our very first group builds, to build heavy equipment. And so we built skid steers. So we knew that the core part was going to have to be centered around how to build a road. What are all of the different pieces of equipment, and what do they look like, and what is a crown and what is a culvert, and all those things. And so the core part of that course is there, and then on top of it is the skid steer. Well, then let's go to another course, and we have core part of the heavy equipment operator, and we have bulldozer. And so when we get folks, and we had this conversation in one of our other podcasts, too. And so we are working to kind of try to figure that out, because we do have students that take multiple pieces of equipment. And as we add on additional pieces of equipment, we're going to encounter the same thing. So that is something that is on our radar of when we get someone that's trying to achieve those stackable credentials, how do we separate, some of those core pieces from the actual equipment itself. So message heard.
Oh, it's not anything. It's really just become a running joke. You're going to know this.
Good to know.
Get ready. It's kind of like when we feed all these folks. They eat the same 2 meals each 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we always joke with our instructors because they get the free lunch, but it's always we have a company we work with. They'll do like barbecue sandwiches the first day and chicken tenders the next day. So it's the same way as that curriculum repeating every time. We're always like, we got a surprise for you tomorrow.
That is not
chicken fingers tomorrow. So.
Well, we tried to have that's so funny, man. And coming from K-12, and like every Monday was like pizza and corn, and Friday was chicken nuggets and mashed potatoes. That's so funny. But we tried to have the core. It's like a sequence almost, like a prerequisite. But elevating Canvas for non-credit wouldn't do it, so we had to shift gears.
It makes sense.
But it's good. So what about your just your general process? Like, you guys do very well. And I was looking at the numbers yesterday and looking at where everything was and having an idea of what's going on here, and the number of people you serve. You guys are always in the top 10 every semester, and pretty high. But you do it quietly. You don't need a whole lot. You ask the questions, but you're not a needy group, and so how do you?
I like that.
That's good.
I mean, it's true. It's like like you're self-sustaining, which is good.
I prefer to say not high maintenance.
There you go.
And I might, my spouse would say I'm a little high maintenance. I don't know, but there may be some people out there, that are more, and not in a bad way, but more high maintenance than others.
I
So
get
that's
it. I know
a
what you
big
mean.
compliment, I think.
But I think it comes back from your background of organizing, let's say 50 kids into a diamond pattern that moves to a circle that moves to whatever. So you're good at transitioning a lot of people to a lot of places where they've not been before. So, but what's your process like? What's your thought process or your approach to managing from I don't know you yet to registration through theory to a lab?
Well, again, we try to inform everybody up front and make sure we have the right people on board, is what it is, within the school or within the company or whatever it is. Because, you guys know, if you go to a company and you're trying to do this training or whatnot, and you're talking to the general manager, and they're trying to work out all these details and such with you, you're going to be handed off at some point.
Right.
But that's not on that person's plate to do. So you try to make sure you're in front of the right person doing the details and whatnot. Same way within a high school. And that's really where this applies. You're talking about the large groups, repeatable, and same kids coming through. So with the high schools, it's general. We'll have a meeting with the principal, but that's not going to be her plate moving forward. So we try to get with the instructors who are going to be coming, or teachers who are going to be coming with them, because we like for the teachers to be there with them, and the career coaches and the counselor at each school, because they're the ones that are going to be in there as TAs. You see them. We always have a ton of TAs on each one, so they can see the process. It's the right people on board. So as far as process, though, we let them know what the hang-ups are going to be up front.
Oh, that's clever.
That's good.
Yeah. What are the hang-ups? I think I know, but I want to hear it.
Do tell. Come on, Andrew.
Well, the hang-up.
It's all elevate,
but
right?
Here's the thing. Before you say anything, just know there are no repercussions, because we ask the questions.
This is how we grow.
And it's going to be edited out, right?
This is how we grow.
So, no, we probably won't edit it. But I was just telling, who was I talking to? Anna Beard from Hansville this morning driving down, and she was asking some questions, and she was asking some pretty pointed questions, and I said, hey, we need to be at whatever lab it is so we can watch what happens and learn when it doesn't go well, if it doesn't, which they always do. But we can learn from that, and so we're not afraid of criticism. So whatever, tell me the hang-ups.
There will always be lags in time between certain steps, no matter what improvements you make, no matter what we do, you do, whatever. So that's what we try to make sure they know up front, is that, even though we may present it this way, you're going to sit down, you're going to get your kids through this, there will still be something you need to do tomorrow with them. Be ready to sit down tomorrow or 48 hours later to get this other step done, other than thinking you're going to get through it all today and then work on it in Canvas. It doesn't matter who's doing it. You're never going to get all of it in one day. So that's the main
common
thing.
steps that they have to be prepared to do the next day? What are those examples?
So the first step is we have our own small Microsoft form we let them do so we know which school they're associated with up front. Rather than having the counselors get all these lists together and all this kind of stuff, we have them get them into a room together, whether it's the teacher, the ag teacher, whoever it is that's taking them to the class, and help them run through our just really short one where they click any trainings they want to be involved in and they associate themselves with a school. That way we have our own running list and we know which kid is with which school.
Gotcha.
And in that same time where they're sitting there, they go ahead and we a lot of times will give them the link they need up front that we've created with you guys for Elevate. So they do those two things together. And then they just need to know that it will be a waiting period before they're able to actually get into the class and start. So, I mean, that'll always exist. But you know how important that is in K-12. They're having to base their class time around that.
Oh,
right.
sure.
And then we really love for them to work through it with them, or at least have sort of time where they're at least moving through the modules together and they know where the kids are as they go in class time. A lot of our ag teachers have been fantastic about doing that. Computer science teachers are the ones that have been taking up the fiber optic stuff. Of course, we offer to do it in their schools. We got a couple that are doing that, but they really love to come out to our campus and make a field trip out of it. Get the lunch, get the free stuff.
What great exposure for your college.
Yeah,
too. That's
what I tell folks all the time is, anything we do, any kind of training we do, whether it's with you guys or our local stuff, it's people who 99% of the time would not have been on a college campus otherwise.
Yeah.
And we make sure they know they're college students, no matter what.
Oh, man.
We tell them they're a college student. You're getting a college credential, and you're getting it on your transcript. So we make sure they understand that no matter what. Whether it's a 65-year-old that's getting ready for retirement but's learning some PLC training, or if it's that 16-year-old coming to drive operate a bulldozer.
Yeah.
I've learned not to say drive. They're college students.
Yeah.
So that's a push. You mentioned coming on campus and letting them have that experience. That's a push we're going to make for K-12 this fall for next school year. And it works fine when you go to Miss Smith's home ec class and do a food and beverage. I get it. They get it. But it's not the same as if they go down to, Ann's Country Kitchen and actually work in Ann's greasy country kitchen, because it's always greasy back there.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And so we're going to make that push that, it's fine when you have to, but at all possible, get the principals to sign off on the thing, or bring them in on the weekend and let them see what it's really like to work in that kitchen in tight corners and real doors. And
we work with so many schools, and that really, we haven't had to make that push because they've all opted. And there's a couple we've helped with buses and whatnot, just because they couldn't handle it, but that's not been a problem for us. But they've wanted to make trips out of it, wanted to get them on the campus because, instead of just coming and taking a tour, they're coming and doing something.
Doing a thing.
And we have partnerships with places, too, off campus where we're doing some of these trainings. Like we use the Burl Slater commercial kitchen there, and we have a real chef that comes in and does it. So it's not just
awesome.
not just the Ann's Country Kitchen, but it's a
real
I mean,
kitchen.
it's a big deal, and they set up like a restaurant and everything. And we're working with the Marriott Shoals to do the hotel operations in the big Marriott and stuff. So we try to make everything as immersive as possible.
And we filmed at Ross Bridge, which is their sister hotel.
Yep.
So what a beautiful marriage that is.
And
Prime opportunity.
And I think one thing we've really lucked out with is how supportive our campus has been, our president has been, our deans have been, because they let me tear up a prime front green lot with bulldozers. It's huge, big enough for us to put 4 skid steers and 3 bulldozers on. It's right up front.
Nice.
I said, "Are you sure? Are you sure you're okay with me?" They said, "No, this is what we do." I said, "That's fantastic. I love hearing that. That's fantastic."
That's really cool.
That's an all-in mentality.
Man, there's so many presidents that are just like, whatever. like seriously, like, it's a good idea. It's a need, and we can take these students and capture them once they're here and do something else with them.
Yeah.
I've seen some really creative outcomes, and I call them shenanigans, just on campus, of just getting like in a place like that. Like, this is a beautiful spot. We're about to tear it up.
Now we try. We bias the fence, the construction fence, and
Sure.
and put our flags up and everything, and the kids too, when they come, it's official. They're there.
Yeah.
They're wearing the hard hats. They're out front. They're it's like they're on a job site. Well, they are on a job site.
And if they have any threat of destructive behavior, then boom, there you go. Like, just tear up the grass over there on the.
There's never one doing it without a smile on their face. And like I said, it may be that 75-year-old or maybe that 16-year-old. They all want to be there.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, you can't drive a bulldozer without at least in these courses without smiling.
And we got, we get 16-year-old, and it's not just career exploration. We have 16-year-olds working this summer because they came to the training in the spring. And we have instructors from the field who are making calls for them to get, finding jobs
That's
for
the way
them
it should
who want to
be.
work.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Have you run any like boot camps or combined courses yet?
Yes. We haven't phrased it as boot camps. We've called some of them workforce academies.
Sure.
But we're moving to doubling up on everything and doing team teaching because we have so many repeat customers. So we're running skid steer and roller at the same time with team teaching, and the same way with bulldozer and excavator. Since there's less on the excavator to learn, and they're able to rotate in and get as much time on the machines as possible anyway, because that's double the machines there.
Should be, yeah.
Less people sitting in chairs, more people up doing things
Beautiful.
anyway. So.
And I'm glad you
That's
said
the
that.
model.
I was going to suggest make sure, because that's the whole point. Is like if you can do the dual classes, but you should have double the machines.
We'll do the same with food and beverage and barista. All these things that pair together, get them as much as they can out of one trip. When they're
Kudos for knowing barista is right around the corner. Yeah, it is. It is almost here.
And one of the things too I've enjoyed seeing with any of the stuff, any people I hire for any of our trainings and stuff, was we're talking about getting students on campus who would never be there.
Yeah.
Same with instructors. These are people who never would have had a chance to pass on their knowledge otherwise. There's only a select number of avenues for somebody to officially, teach, and this is the only avenue for them to teach to the community college to actually teach a college class in their field.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, we've got people. I keep telling Adam and everybody else at the school, at some point we have to hit a dry spell and end up with somebody I'm going to have trouble with. Because I have upwards of 30 instructors now in various fields and whatnot, and not a one of them is weak. I mean, every one of them it's been just fantastic to work with. And I said, I've never been in a position where I've had this many staff that's just getting it.
Just gets it.
In the band world, I'm always, figuring out and that's volunteers, though. It's a different story. But, like I've got one, it's hilarious. We brought him on to teach heavy equipment stuff. He's just versed in all of it and can do all of it. He owns a business with his father. It does dirt work. And but his mother, if he watches, I'm gonna have him watch this because he knows I'm talking about him. His mother is in education, his wife's in education. So his first thing he did, the first conversation we had after I hired him, he came back and was getting ready for the first lab and stuff. And he was poking fun at his mother and his wife. He said, "I know you guys have been teaching for a long time and whatnot, but there's only one person who's become the first college professor in this family."
I love that. That's so
fantastic.
And I said, "You're completely right. I mean, it's just people who have never had the chance otherwise, and they're fantastic instructors. They didn't know. They've been showing people for years, but never teaching in a structured format."
Well, that's what we keep hearing, and I'm sure you do too, from industry, which is, we have this big need because here we've got this, broad group of people that are a few years away from retiring, and all the wisdom and all the knowledge is about to go out the door. Mm-hmm. And so that's their, one of their asks is to have a way, have a conduit, to be able to pass that knowledge on, those 30 or 40 years of learned, how to do things on to the next generation before it's their time to retire.
Yeah.
And so what a perfect opportunity, kind of in a different slant a little bit, because they may not be retirement age, but not only that group of people who can retire, but just your folks that just really, it's kind of naturally in their wheelhouse, right? Because, you come across people all the time that, gosh, they could explain how to do anything, and have family members that can't explain their way out of a paper bag. They're smart and brilliant in other ways, but couldn't teach you how to do something. And when you come across somebody who can truly teach somebody else how to do something, it's incredible, right? Because not everybody has it. So I love that. I love that.
That's really cool. Growing your community.
Yeah.
Because they're better at what they do in the real world then. They got more confidence.
Absolutely.
They're college.
They are, and I push that too.
Yeah.
You got the college email address. You are,
Official.
we're going to give you the decal for your truck, and
Nice.
you are a college instructor, just like that's a college student. So we really push that big time. I feel like that really helps with retention too. And you're talking about before they retire. You know what I'm talking about. You try to get everyone of them after they retire.
Yeah.
The retired folks are awesome as far as
Yes.
the availability, because that's one of the things I always joke. I try to say it jokingly when I meet with a company before I leave. You got any folks retiring? Yeah, send them my way. I'm sure they can do something. for us.
Yeah.
Always. It's funny how we've never had that conversation, but I did the same stuff. And, it was I would catch folks retiring, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you got going on? We jokingly say there are other things besides skills for success that happen at the colleges.
Mm-hmm.
What else is going on at Northwest Shoals?
We are trying to, a lot of our industry trainings, I'm trying to gear up and move those into open enrollment trainings as well.
Yeah.
So because AWSP has tied up a lot of resources over the past several years, so most of our resources have been towards company-specific trainings all the time. So as we near, I know it's been extended till December, we're working on figuring out ways to offer it to the public so anybody can come in, hopefully start working in conjunction with Paths for Success to create programs for a lot of this industry training, series of PLC and other types of classes that people can come in and take a series of like that in order to, upskill within their workplace at their choice rather than, these companies may not be deciding to train without these grant opportunities
for sure.
That have been going on. That's one of the big things we're doing. We're developing a lot of new courses too. Just trying to get out into the community and figure out what they need, one of which echocardiography. That's one we're working on right now.
Really?
That's a postgraduate program because, you get a degree in sonography and then there's still plenty of work to be done towards any other kind of machine. So we're working on a postgraduate degree, or not degree, but a training for that to get people prepared for that certification. But as you know, there's always something like that going on.
Always.
Yeah. I taught 18 years for ultrasound.
Mm-hmm.
I came out of that
very
field.
good.
Yeah, we started a echocardiography program at Baptist Medical Center before we even moved that program over to Trenton.
Well, I'll be calling.
So yeah,
have
a little bit of knowledge in that area. It's kind of cool when two lives intersect.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of other stuff that's because we talk about it every day. We got a simulator recently. So that's been a cool CDL. I'm sorry. It's one of the, you changed the topics as
yeah.
What brand did
next
you
will be beef jerky, deer jerky. Virage, Canadian company.
Okay.
They sent a fella from Canada down to set it up and everything. So we got the fire truck, the ambulance, all the trucks, and school bus. So we're working with our local EMS and everything to bring in people who need some refreshers on that. We've had EMS come in and do their folks. And, of course, we're doing scheduling for all our folks that have a little bit of a wait period before they get into the trucks. So they're going to practice backing and shifting on the simulator.
Two things to that. Our ambulance operator course pilots end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have that. So you'll be able to use your ambulance simulator with that. And then, of course, your vet tech course will pilot as soon as the task force
Vet
reviews
assistant.
it. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, vet assistant.
Please.
Yes, yes, you're right.
I've practiced.
Yes, vet assistant. That'll happen. And then we're looking at some sims and they're small. I mean, one of them would fit inside this table, like this area that has the American semi manual and automatic, and ambulance, and all the heavy equipment that we do, as well as a few other things. Mm-hmm. So, and it's portable, so it can really go off of a trailer into a classroom or on its own trailer and just roll it up at your lab door.
Very good.
So we're working on it. So you'll have a nice option with yours and ours. You'll have a nice option to really serve a lot of people.
Yeah.
So there's no downtime and a lot of prep. So they come and they're hands on, and they're weeks ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
Been our hope is get them a little bit of time. Backing and shifting, because that's the two things that take the longest.
For sure.
So at least they're not as scared when they get into the truck. They're used to looking at mirrors. And, of course, we've been playing on it. It's pretty fun to be standing there and make somebody blow out a tire, like the guy I was telling you about that does the bulldozer training and whatnot. We were messing with him the other day because I know you've driven one, right?
Yeah.
If you make it blow out a steer tire, it jerks you over to the right.
Oh, It's very
We've had
real.
a good time with it. So.
It's very real.
So far.
The one we're looking at is extremely, it's high, like, best video game you've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's right there in your face. And that one has an avatar so that you could, everybody could do the thing with just goggles on, and controls, like hand controls. But we've got some desks, and then there'll be a fourth person who can monitor.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be really neat, but it'll also be good for middle school. Mm-hmm. And that's really what it's aimed for, is middle school exploration. Yeah. So you'll get it for a week or two, or a month, whatever, and then use it with middle schools. They'll all come and do it, and then you'll take it to a lab, whatever. So it'll be a nice tool for you.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. That makes me think. I don't know why it made me think. We drew a blank on new stuff we have going on all the time. Rocket Shoals. You guys have heard about everything coming into the old rail car plant, and
Oh yeah.
a new company coming in to find other vendors to come in and set up shop there.
Yeah.
One of the things we're looking at for them is orbital welding.
Oh yeah.
Trying to secure some of that kind of stuff because they're, looking at aerospace and nautical stuff coming in. Just a lot of exciting stuff.
Very cool.
Yep. The Tennessee River has always been an economic, since as long as people have been living there. But coming out of Decatur in the aerospace industry and then tying down to all the bases around the coast, around the Gulf especially. So that's really cool. Final thoughts, Andrew, from all things Northwest. And we like to ask the question this way: in 3 to 5 years, what are you celebrating? What are you toasting to in 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years. In relation to this,
Whatever.
what we have going on right now, or okay, not personally.
All the things you've got going on. When you look back in 5 years and you go home that day, and you say, I'm going to have a toast to.
Okay. Let me back up then.
Yeah.
So been doing this for about 3 years now. So some of the challenges were us pretty much building a program within 3 years. Within the past year, we were able to pretty much double it because I got help and we were able to double our capacity. So within the next 3 years, I would say I would like to see our student count double, close to double. That depends on our capacity, of course. But that's been but more so our relationship count of people we deal with. Because that's where everything's really driven, as far as all the businesses we're able to go out with and to see and the relationships we're able to form with them. I guess that's what I would be toasting is seeing a full. I don't know. I don't think that far out. I think of going as hard and fast every day as I can, and then at some point it looks good and we feel good about it, and then we go back to work. I guess that would be what I'd want to see is whatever we did this year right now in 3 to 5 years, just seeing everything having been double. But in some respects that wouldn't be. Some would say that's not possible, but
Sure it is.
I disagree, sir.
Uh-huh.
I disagree. I've seen what you guys have done in just a little bit of time, and it's been phenomenal. So keep going.
Well, we
Yeah.
just love seeing the people that, not necessarily that we've helped, we've created the opportunity to be helped with the awesome instructors we're able to hire and the folks we've been able to put in front of them and the opportunities we've been able to put in front of these people in the public who just didn't have the option otherwise.
That we feel the same way. That's when we build courses with industry and then we hand those courses off. Like that is the greatest day ever is to watch y'all take these courses and go and serve the communities and all of the folks and participants that come through and hear their success stories. And back when it really was just 4 of us or 5 of us or whatever, when it was kind of small, and we were just getting started, we heard and got to put boots on the ground, to see more of that. And now as we've grown and gosh, there's, this many labs happening every day and there's just no way to be everywhere. But we feel the same way. That's exactly how we feel. And I don't know that we could answer that question. Well, we've asked each other, like, where do you see this in like 5 years? Like, wow, we don't like, I don't even like in a month, there's so much that has changed in a month or 6 months that it's like, golly, I don't even know if I could process what 3 to 5 would look like. It's just crazy. So,
and I get the same feeling when I see, folks were able to get in from the plants and whatnot and know that they're going to be able to test into a higher position once they leave us. I say us, our instructor that I've hired.
Sure.
I mean, it's just a good feeling to know they got a better opportunity and growing the workforce within that plant, and then whether they have the opportunity to go out and, when they're able to upskill within their company, and I know that they are a more valuable employee, and that forces that company to see them as a more valuable employee and either think about losing them or paying them more to keep them. I love creating that dynamic.
yes.
That's beautiful.
That's going to raise all ships.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Raise all ships. I like that. You should put that on the T-shirt.
What is
and
it,
sell it.
I think it's already been said.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
Love it.
Something like that.
Love it. Yeah, well, you're doing a good job. You ask a lot of questions. You ask the right questions. And we appreciate that because that makes your process better, makes us better, makes us question what we're doing.
Absolutely.
To support you guys. So,
absolutely.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. Y'all too.
Yep.
Thank you. For being with us today, Andrew Robbins from Northwest Shoals. And
thank you for having me.
To our podcast listeners, be sure and like, subscribe, and follow. And this is Innovation Unplugged.